Tapu, Assalamu alaikum, Namaste, Haru Nefer. This is Kasaf Ma Keparu, Supreme Sorcerer, coming to you with another video. And in this video, I want to talk about 2 secrets for manifesting dark magic. But before I do that, I would love for you to please hit that like button. And if this is your first time to my channel, welcome. Hit the subscribe button to get notifications on when I go live or upload recorded videos. And also, if you get an opportunity and if you're in a position to do so, I would love for you to support us on Patreon. As a Patreon supporter, you get exclusive access to instructional videos, videos on the esoteric. These videos will show you how to do oracle readings, how to perform a ritual, how to invoke spirits, how to put together magical amulets, how to work with herbs, all of that good stuff. And you can do so, become a Patreon supporter for as little as $1 or $5 per month, and you can cancel anytime. Also, we do have the new Keppra Ankh. This is the latest ebook that I've written, and you can order it now in the link below. And this book is the key to manifesting a new reality. You're not happy with your life, you want to change it using magic? Well, get the new Keppra Ankh ebook, and it goes into a lot of detail. Some people aren't ready for that. No, they're not. They're not. They read that ebook and it really shocks them because it gets into the matrix, reveals what's going on into the matrix. And might I add this, there's a lot of magicians online that have their own channels. For some strange reason, I seem to be one of the few who writes and reads. Weird, isn't that? I don't know. How did that happen? Was I born under a weird constellation of stars to where I like to write and read? Ah, okay. Anyway, so let's go into the subject matter at hand. This is very important. 2 secrets to manifesting dark magic. Why would you want to manifest dark magic? That's just weird, right? Like, I don't understand. What would compel you to want to get into the dark side? You know, and I will explain. So, growing up, I wouldn't say I was a nerd, but I was fascinated by Star Trek. So I watched a lot of science fiction, Star Trek being one of them, and I loved Captain Kirk, like Kirk Enterprise, you know. It was something that I just loved, and I would watch it. Now, what happens when you do that? What happens when you're in an environment, and this was an escapist for me, escapism. I would watch movies, way of escaping, because I had a pretty tough upbringing, a pretty tough family life, me and my brother. So I really got into the sci-fi world. But what happens when you do that is that you lose out on social skills. You don't know how to interact with people. You're not very good in conversations and in group settings. So that was very tough for me. And I remember one time in particular, this girl had liked me, and I liked her back. That's that Ma'at principle. Balance, reciprocation, reciprocity. That's Ma'at. But, however, there was another guy that she liked more, and I eventually lost out. Not because I wasn't handsome, attractive, because I am. You know, I'm all that in a bag of chips. You know that. But it was because I didn't know how to chase her. I didn't know how to compete. And she was waiting for me to come over and talk to her, to pull her away from the other guy, to demonstrate my qualities. But alas, I had no social skills. So I went back home defeated. And then a spirit, an illustrious spirit, came before me and manifested before me. And he said, in an emphatic way, "Do you want that girl?" And I looked at him and I said, I have 2 things to say. Number 1, yes. And number 2, what is going on? I'm talking to an apparition. And as he began to explain who he was, a spirit from another dimensional realm, and he said to me, "I can show you a way to get that girl. I can empower you with magic, dark magic, to where you could manipulate the very foundations of this existence, and nothing would be out of your reach." Where here I am talking to an apparition. So I knew that either I was high on drugs, and I didn't do drugs, or I was dreaming and I knew I wasn't dreaming, So this had to be real. So I made a pact with the spirit and I said, yes, teach me to get that girl. Teach me dark magic. And the spirit dissipated. And from that point on, as I began to live my daily life, the spirit would accompany me and whisper in my ear, go buy this herb. Go get this candle. Make sure it's this color. Go get this outfit. Now tonight, before you go to sleep, I want you to write this symbol down. And I want you to say this mantra. I obeyed and I did it. And lo and behold, to my astonishment, I did not get the girl. But I got more beautiful women than that girl. Many more women. I mean, woman after woman after woman. Then he gave me a secret mantra. And I recited that mantra. But I didn't listen to him. I should have listened to him. He said, I'm going to give you this very powerful mantra that will make women attracted to you. Be careful, Kasank. Do not abuse this mantra. So I recited the mantra, and women would just come up to me, give me their phone number, give me that look about how they wanted to tear me apart. And I was actually shocked. I was amazed. And I was like, well, this occult stuff works. But then I said, let me take this to the next level. Let me see how powerful I can become with this mantra. I didn't listen to the spirit. I did not listen to the spirit. I abused the mantra. And then all kinds of crazy bad things happened to my person. It just almost destroyed my life. And I locked that mantra away and never used it again because I thought it was the mantra. It was my own behavior. I abused the mantra. It wasn't the mantra itself. The spirit warned me. Then, as I lied in bed with my ex at the time, the spirit apparition came into the room and woke her up and terrified her. She freaked out. And it said, Kasank, we need to talk. So I said, we'll talk later. I got to calm her down right now because you freaked her out. True story. True story. So the spirit came back and we talked. And I said, I want more power. More power. I'm thirsty now. Very thirsty. You have shown me, it's like I have tasted blood and I want more. And he says, okay, Kasank, I'm going to give you more. But you're going to have to give up something. I said, name it. He says, you have to give up filmmaking. You give up filmmaking, and I'll make you a powerful magi. I said, boom, done. I'm giving it up. So I gave it up. And he started talking to me, giving me secrets about the occult and how to be powerful. And at the time, I went to my high priest. We call him the king, the Shechem or Shechem, which means power, great power in Kemetic language, Shechem or Shechem. And I said, Shechem or Shechem? Netrak. That's how you have to greet him. Netrak means basically salutation of your power. And I said to him, do spirits come to you and talk to you and guide you? He goes, of course. That's how he talked. Goes, of course. Yes, spirits will come and talk to you and guide you. Those are spirit guides. Yes. Or it can be ancestors. And they will show you all kinds of secret rituals and stuff. I go, oh, good. Because I thought I was imagining all this. I thought this was like my mind going crazy. I said, well, I think I got one who's working with me. He says, good, listen to him. I said, I am. He said, because you don't listen to him, he will leave you. You must listen to him and do what he says. I said, okay. So I went back and started talking to my spirit guide. and asking for more information about the occult and the secrets and doing this and doing that. And before I knew it, he started exposing everything to me, how the world works, how Hollywood works. And then it dawned on me, I've been suckered. The spirit tricked me. I was like, you tricked me, man. You tricked me. You see, what I thought was me getting power, spiritual knowledge, the ability to manipulate women, manipulate the physical environment. What this spirit was doing was dangling a carrot in front of me. And I, hungry and thirsty as hell, was going for the carrot. But I didn't realize what this spirit was doing. The spirit was giving me knowledge and information, but also training me on ma'at. The spirit was indoctrinating me into a higher spiritual consciousness. And what I thought was dark magic was just a way of the spirit to entice me to become spiritual. The spirit saw the things I wanted. Spirit said, oh, you want that pretty girl? Uh-huh. You want filmmaking? Uh-huh. Well, this is what you got to do. And I followed. And through the course of following, I became very knowledgeable, very wise. Then the spirit came back to me and said, you're powerful now. Go into Hollywood now. Go back and pursue filmmaking. I said, wait, you told me to give it up. He goes, yeah, I did, didn't I? But now, if you want to pursue that, because you're a powerful magician, you can get that and more. Goodbye. And he dissipated. And I realized that I have been tricked for my own good. Sometimes you'll have spirit guides that will come to you and they will lure you in and appear to have evil motives. But in reality, what they're doing is something that's very necessary, which is raising your consciousness to the 5th dimensional level, the 5D level, because they have to tempt you. They have to use your weaknesses and your thirst and your lust for material items to get you to be spiritual. There was no other way for this spirit to communicate to me. There was no other way for this spirit to get to me by telling me these things like, I have to give up filmmaking. If I want that girl, I'll listen. I have to listen to him. So when I didn't get the girl, I was upset. I was mad at the spirit. And I'm backtracking a bit. I went back to the spirit and I said, I didn't get that girl. He goes, oh yeah, you didn't get her, right? I said, yeah, I went up to her, talked to her. She told me off, in fact. He says, oh, that's too bad. She told you off. Wow, that's really, bet you were hurt. I said, yeah, I was hurt. And he was like, oh. Spirit said, well, did you go back home and masturbate? I said, no. Oh, tough. I said, yo, you messing me up. You really messed me up. He goes, let me ask you something. Spirit said this. When you were on the subway, did you notice that girl looking at you? I go, yeah, whatever. Yeah, you messed me up. He goes, no, wait. When you were walking down the street back to your apartment, did you notice that girl bump into you and say hi? I go, yeah, whatever. He says, when you got to your door, to open your door, do you remember that cute neighbor you have? Do you remember how she didn't talk to you? But when you went to unlock your door, she was unlocking her door at the same time and she looked at you and smiled. Has she ever done that before? I go, no, what's your point? He goes, well, I gave you something more powerful than just that one girl. I gave you the ability to attract all women. And then I was like, oh, crap. Holy crap, you're right. You're absolutely right. He says, I've given you power. Who cares about that one girl? You now have the ability to get all these girls. You see, that's what the spirit had to do. It had to appeal to my sahu nature, my animal spirit, to get me to be spiritual and to awaken me to a higher level of consciousness. If not, I would have never pursued spirituality. And this is what happens in your life. When you go through tragedies, when you go through things that seem like The world is against you. It's only a means of pushing you toward becoming something other than yourself, to awaken something within you. And if you listen and you awaken that third eye, you will be taught by some of the most ancient of spirits that will guide you in your journey in life. But we're taught in this world to ignore those voices that we hear, ignore those spirits that may come to us because it's all in your mind. Therefore, you don't get access to secret knowledge. You don't get power. You close yourself down. You may see something, but then you attribute it to your eyes playing tricks on you. No, you actually saw a spirit. Your eyes aren't playing tricks on you. No, you actually heard somebody at 3 a.m. calling your name. As my king Shechem said, if you don't listen and obey, it will go away. Many times we dismiss these things so the spirits go away, and we never learn from them. First technique the spirit taught me, the first thing, is the universe does not communicate using the verbal language that you and I have been accustomed to use. The universe understands states of being, frequencies. When you read the Bible and you read where God said, I am that I am, I am. I am means a state of being. So when it is you want something, you don't command the universe to bring it to you. You become a state of being. First technique. I am that. I am this. So you're a multidimensional being. You are all things, but yet no one thing. So therefore, to become something, you must possess the energy of that thing. So in order for me to attract the woman, I have to understand first and foremost that the power is within me to do so. And that all I need to do is just shift to a state of being, to a frequency of a very confident, attractive individual, and resonate on that frequency and hold that frequency for as long as possible. So that momentum and consistency is there to take me into the trance state, the right brain, and access source. Heath Ledger, when he did Batman, the movie Batman, to play the Joker, he prepared many, many nights prior. And you could not talk to him as Heath Ledger. He was not that person. He was the Joker. He had possessed a character to the point of where he had become it. He was it. There was no more Heath Ledger there. Heath Ledger was gone, and what there was for that particular moment in time was an empty shell, which then metamorphosized into the Joker. So if you are looking to attract money, to attract whatever it is you want, you must first and foremost understand that who you are, the persona of who you are, has to disappear, has to take a back seat, so that you could possess the state of someone who has the very thing you're looking for in the present now moment. To such a degree that you deny the physical reality around you. If I am living in poverty, yet I am wealth, and I resonate to that frequency, and I look around me and all there is deprivation and poverty, but I do not recognize that. I deny that reality because there is a delay in the fourth dimension. The fourth dimension has time dilation, a delay. The photonic molecules that come and hit the retina of your eye to form the picture in the back of your brain of what it sees is really seeing the past. It is not a real time display of what's happening. Science has validated this. So when you encompass the state of being of I am wealth, and you hold that, and you deny the physical reality that's around you because it's a delay, and you become that very thing, then you shift to a different reality where you are wealthy, where you are in possession of great material things. This is the secret to who we are, is that we can instantaneously shift to a state of being. You see, we believe the emotions, and it is so sick of a philosophy that Westerners have indoctrinated us into, because we believe we respond to stimulus from the outside world, and we do, because we're taught to do that. We're taught to, somebody bumps into us, to get angry. We're taught that when we get a letter of bad news, to get upset. But the reality is, what we need to do is master the ability to move and shift through different states of being at will. This is the symbolization of Heru. You must deny the Sahudi animal nature within you, because that emotional knee-jerk reaction will keep you rooted in 3D. It will keep you from shifting to the reality that you want. And most of you fail simply because you start out good, but then something triggers you and you lose that state. And then therefore you say, oh, well, law of attraction doesn't work. Reality transurfing doesn't work. It's all hocus pocus. No, you must be focused like a hawk, the symbol of Haru. You must have narrow vision to the point of where when people communicate with you, you are not L anymore. You're not Nookie anymore. You're not Taylor anymore. You are wealth. You become that very thing. You match that frequency. To assist you, there are mantras for love, for money, for acquisition of a house, a car, for good luck. If you find you're having trouble holding that state, then you need a mantra that can be given to you by a guru or a shechem or shechem. If you are not around a sage or guru who can bestow upon you the right mantra, then you need to do your research. Then you need to get a book or go online and start looking up ancient secret mantras. And there is a mantra for everything. And all these mantras do is to show you how to shift, or how to be I am, or be that state of being. And the next thing I really got into that the spirit told me was occult symbolism, and how powerful occult symbols were. I didn't realize that these geometric shapes are really sound vibrations. And that when the mind or the mind's eye sees them, they resonate to a frequency and they can shift you as well. So when I first began my studies into occult symbols, I studied with Japanese masters who are into Japanese black magic, and Chinese, the sages too, were showing me symbols to attract money, to be able to manipulate situations to my benefit. And I started to really get into the understanding. Some of us call these sigils, you know. And if you adorn your room or your apartment or even your body with these symbols, they will attract the very thing you're looking for. This is why our ancestors, when they wrote the sacred writings, they called it the Metu Netta. And this is why when you look into many of our ancient cultures, you see that they're fractal designs to appeal to the right hemisphere of the brain. So I began to recite the mantras. I began to take on a new belief system that Kasank no longer existed, that I was that thing that I was looking for. And I started to put up in my room all the occult symbols to help me to get to where I wanted to go. It was like peeling an onion. The more power I got, the more of an obstacle the spirit put in my way. And I asked that spirit, why do you keep doing this? He said, because there are many levels to explore. And I know you're thirsty. So why not explore them? I said, but well, I really would love to be Steven Spielberg, the next Steven Spielberg. He says, don't worry, you can do that if you want. But there's so much more power out there for you. And you can be of so much benefit to help mankind and womankind if you keep going. So I did that. I kept going. And I started to love it. I started to love exploring the occult. And then I learned of something. I remember sitting at my desk at work. It was a brokerage firm. I worked with brokers at the time. And I had tore something out of a book and put it up on my desk. Didn't know what it was. And just sat there and looked at it. It was an Egyptian symbol. Went to a high priestess and said, I'm ready. Please reveal to me, do an oracle reading and reveal to me my destiny. And reveal to me my clan. She did the readings. She did the astrological chart. And she came back laughing, saying she never saw a chart like this, an astrological chart like this. So what is it? She goes, your clan is Ma'at. Your destiny is Ma'at. Your sun sign is Ma'at. She is your mother. I said, whoa, that's deep. Went to work the next day and realized that that picture I put up at my desk was Ma'at. My mother was talking to me. She was saying that when you acquire the spiritual knowledge, you must live truth, that you cannot use this power that you have for evil purposes. Then many people came along and said, Kasank, I hear tell that you could hypnotize women, that you can hypnotize men. Show me how to do that. I said, no, I won't. I'm not going to do that. Well, Kasank, use your power to do stage shows. I said, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to use it for therapy to help people. And people were like, what? Because see, living in a Sahu world, it's a very selfish world. It's built on monetary gain. And then working with the spirit, I began to understand something about money. That money is a talisman, is a magical instrument that was created by the Illuminati. And I began to understand that, wait a minute, we've based our whole life on the acquisition of material goods, and that's wrong. And that's wrong. So I took on a new frame of thinking, a whole new way of thinking. Level 2, the second technique. My magic still wasn't powerful enough. I told the spirit, it's just not working. He says, of course not. There's still one more thing you need to do. I said, okay, when were you planning on telling me this? You made me give up filmmaking. Oh, and also the spirit tricked me too. He says, oh, you know those women that you think you're getting? Have fun. You'll never have a successful relationship. You will never have a successful relationship. Every woman I had interaction with went down the tubes. I said, why is this happening? He says, well, next level. I'm like, you keep tricking me to get me to the next level. He said, that's how it works. Technique number 2. You cannot use your magic to acquire anything if your self-image does not change. You see, we all have a picture of ourselves that we that the left brain uses as a reference or a paradigm. And we default to that self-image of ourselves when we get into the thick of things, when we come to the crossroads. And many times that self-image is very negative. And if your self-image is low and negative, then your magic will not manifest. That is it. So my magic, though I could attract these things into my life, I couldn't make them stick because of my self-image. I was referencing an image of myself, of one who was not worthy of these things, one who was maybe not intelligent, not confident, not good looking. No way, I am good looking. Okay, scratch that one. But you know what I'm saying. So then what I had to do was to do a ritual and craft a new self-image. And I did a ritual of the dead, where I had a funeral session where I buried the old self-image of me and resurrected and invoked a new image, one that was more powerful, positive, more handsome. Don't know how that could be, but I did. But anyway, I thought I was okay. But anyway, one who was worthy of great wealth and success. And the most important one that I needed was to understand that I don't care what people think. I could give a crap what anybody thinks. Because the only one that matters in this world is Neter, God. And I know that he loves me in spite of whatever I do. You can be the darkest, most evil person on the planet, and God will still love you. You can denounce God, call God names, and God will still love you. And I had to come to that understanding because I felt unloved. I felt not worthy. I was worried about how my avatars would feel about me, how they would think about me. And the spirit says, Kasank, they're not real, right? Those images of these people that you're creating in this fourth dimensional experience, it's really a holographic experience and they're not real, but you think they're real, but they only been created for you to have an interaction with so you can gain the experience. And I was like, oh, okay. So you mean if I punch a stranger on the street, I'll be okay? He goes, oh, no, don't take it that far because you'll be arrested. You see, as a supreme being, you created rules that even you must obey. So your conduct must be correct. 10th hexagram of the great I-ching oracle, conduct. So be careful. So I began to divorce myself of caring about what people thought and building a relationship with Neter, God. And made a vow to try and live Ma'at. So you cannot invoke the magic that you're looking for to transform your life, to attract the things that you want in your life, if your self-image is low. If your self-image is not there. This is precisely why they created the fictional characters in the Bible of Jesus. Because they knew that you, as the person who is limited, would fail if you kept that reference of that person in your mind. But if they were to create a character like Oser, like Jesus, and use that as the model for you to base your life upon, by saying that this individual loves you and that this individual is within you. See, there's a difference between me saying, I just don't think I can use my magic to turn this situation around for my benefit. But if that's basically the conventional mode of thinking. But if I accept and become indoctrinated into the idea of the Christ consciousness, that Christ is within me, and with Christ all things are possible, that dynamically changes the ball game. Everything changes there. And then I think I can perform miracles. I can manifest things because I know that Christ lives within me. And this is precisely why the Kemetic people said, well, we need to create something so that the Egyptian people can have faith within themselves in that fall. So we will create the idea of Osir that they can fall back on and use as a self-image. That Osir is within you, and Osir can be resurrected so that you can perform miracles. And it worked. You see, these are tools that these religions use to take you to a place psychically that you couldn't go on your own. Because you have spent the better part of your life as yourself, the person. And you know that person so well. And that it's a compilation of life experience and growing up in your family environment. And trying to rely on that individual is a hit and miss situation, believe me. So, in a way, it's a magical occult secret to create these images, these men, these women, so that you can identify with them and become them to work your magic, to work your juju. Because it's very difficult for you to mentally trick yourself and to say, I know I suck at golf, but I can invoke Kasong's power to be good at golf. It doesn't work that easy. But if you say to yourself, I can do a hole in one because Christ lives within me, or Sarah lives within me, and that's a whole different thing. You have now become something other than yourself. You are now accessing a power. So the next thing the Spirit told me is the Spirit says, well, this is the Ka. I said, the Ka? Yeah, this is the Ka, the source of your power. That when you accept this new persona or this new identification of yourself, you're accessing the Ka power. And as long as you identify with that, you can perform miracles. You can do things that you normally couldn't. And then the Spirit took me to the next level of understanding the template reality that exists in the ether. And the Spirit told me that when we worship things like Osir, Jesus, Heru, they live as archetypes in the ether. And as an archetype, throughout the thousands of years of people praying and worshiping these deities, these archetypes, these spirits, they have energized and given energy to these things. And that these things are powerful now. And they have now taken on a life of their own. And now that when you access them, you can download that power. Now, here's the trick that you have to be aware of. You can have a Christian come to you and you can tell the Christian, well, you know that Jesus is really a plagiarized version of Heru and Osir. And they will argue with you. And where most people get stuck, so-called scholars, is that these Christians will come along and in the name of Christ perform a miracle. And then the scientists will be like, oh man, okay, I can't explain that, but you did it. But what these scientists don't understand is that that doesn't mean that the actual biblical figure or ancient figure really exists as a God What it means is that we have energized that archetype to the point of where it's so powerful that you can now access it so that you can retain some of that power and perform miracles. But again, it doesn't mean that those figures actually existed. And that is a behind the scene look at how religions such as Christianity and the Kemetic religion work. You empower an archetype for thousands of years doing prayers and sacrifice to it, that you make it so powerful that when in your time of need, you can access it. But don't fall under the ridiculous belief that that thing actually is existing. Because if you're going to wait for Jesus to come and save the world, you're in for a surprise and you're in for a long wait. You better get some popcorn. You can create right now an archetype and call it whatever you want. You can call it Jay Smith. You can call it Michael Osair. You can call it El Glass. And if you pray to it every night, and if you do a ritual to it every night, you make it powerful. And after 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years, it becomes so powerful that the mere thought of it will give you energy so that you can now do things on, simply by accessing it. And this is where the famous Swiss psychologist Carl Jung stumbled upon it. And he first thought there were just like a few archetypes, like the father archetype, the mother archetype. But as he studied, he began to realize, oh my God, there's all of these archetypes that exist. Some more powerful than others. And this is why the occult masters, the dark magicians of modern day, say that you can create a sigil, or you can create an ergamor or a pendulum. But it's better if you research them that have already been established by great magicians thousands of years ago and access their power. Meaning, you can go through all the trouble of creating your own spiritual entity to give you power, which would take you 5, 7 years to empower it to the point of where it's powerful enough so you can access it, or you can just go to one of the existing entities which have been empowered over the thousands of years by our ancestors. What are those existing entities? They are Muhammad, they are Buddha, there's Jesus, they're Osair, there's Haru, there's Aset, there's Ma'at. Do you know how many rituals have been done to Ma'at? Do you know how many sacrifices of animals and cows have been done to Osair and Haru? All of those animals sacrificed to them. That power is waiting to be accessed. Why not? Why not go to it? Now, I've shown you the two ways occult secrets of now accessing and manifesting your magic. And I call it dark magic, not because it's evil, because it's behind the veil. It's hidden. See, when people who don't understand how these things work behind the scenes, and then when they ask Jesus or Sarah for a miracle and the miracle is performed, they actually believe these characters exist. But they don't realize they're just energies. That's all they are. Powerful energies or entities. Don't get it twisted now. Because this is the basis of wars on this planet. Fanatical religious people running around saying, my God's more powerful than your God. No. We have to stop looking at the concrete and start understanding things from an abstract way. Abstract way. These characters were written not as historical figures that actually existed. They were written as occult secrets on how an individual like you and I can obtain power. That's all. So realize that and start working with it. Let me greet the Magi's that are in the chat room real quick. So Nuki, Hetep, Elglass, Hetepu, Sim, Namaste, Jay Smith, Namaste, Danielle, Harun Nefer, Michael, Hetep, Michael Asar, Hetepu, Danielle, Mayville, welcome, Hetep. The best of all the rest. Namaste, namaste. Thank you for coming to the channel. Michael says, mantras also work in similar fashion, tying in universal frequencies and empowered associated frequencies by us correspond multiplied by us unto itself. Hence all the rituals and cycles. Absolutely. I haven't even gotten into cycles, but that's another thing, another subject for another time, because cycles are very powerful. So I hope this works for you. There are many books that can give you the geographic shapes, which I call this, which are really the sigils that when you look at them will invoke the energy within you. So start exploring those books. There are many other books that will give you the exact mantras that you need. Now, let us end this by going over the process that has worked for me and that you need to follow. Because too many people out there who call themselves conscious or sages or sorcerers use a one-size-fits-all technique, meaning that they'll say, let me give you an example, this mantra here. This mantra is good for controlling people. It teaches you how to control somebody. Om, Herling, Krum, Herling, Hum, Pat, Sohai. All right. Does that mantra mean, does that mean that mantra will work for every individual? No, it will not work for every individual because you have a core frequency, right? And your core frequency may not vibe with that mantra. You understand what I'm saying? In fact, the ancient Chinese, our ancestors, the Nak people, understood synthesis, how to mix energies. Earth, water, fire, how they mix and interact with each other. So you may be interacting, you may be fire, and that mantra may be water. And you create steam, thus nothing. So when you're going to work with a mantra or an occult symbol you're going to use to attract love or money, you must first go to God, Neter, go to, what is God's wisdom? What is God's supreme wisdom? God's supreme wisdom is who? Does anybody in the chat room know? Come on, Magi's, you got to know this. What is God's supreme wisdom? Waiting. Okay, no one knows. All right. In the story of Asar Set, Heru, and this top here is Ra, because your will needs the Kundalini Chi energy in order to work. You cannot empower your will without Ra. But anyway, in the story of Asar and Set, Heru had to go to God's wisdom to beat Set. God's wisdom is Tehuti, Tha. So when you're going to work with a mantra, a sigil, you go to the oracle first and ask, will this work for me? Will this work for me? And based on what the oracle said, whether it be positive, like a Tehuti card, this is Tehuti positive, then you can proceed. However, if you get a very, very negative card, and nothing's really negative in the world, but we'll just say, if you don't know that's negative by the red color, then you don't proceed and you go keep looking until you find something. So what I'm saying to you is those individuals who keep doing this one size fits all, this cookie cutter system. Not everything's going to work with your energy. It's not. This is why we work with the oracles. This is why we work with Tahuti. Just because like someone gives you a mantra and say use this mantra because it can attract wealth, doesn't mean it's going to attract wealth for you. Ask God, ask the oracle if it will attract wealth for you. Ask. Somebody gives you a mantra to attract a mate. Doesn't mean that mantra is going to work for you. It may repel women. True story. Don't laugh. Don't anybody freaking laugh in the chat room. I did that. Someone gave me a mantra to attract, to be attractive to people, right? So what did I do? For a single week, I had like at least 5 guys hit on me. In very weird, one guy on the subway, I'm sitting, subway car is empty. He comes and literally sits next to me. And I'm like, okay, I got to stop working with this mantra. I'm in this clothing store, and the guy, he's gay. He comes, nothing wrong with that, but he comes up to me and says, I can offer you something more than clothes. I'm like, okay, this mantra is not working. Okay. But if I did a reading on that mantra prior to working with it, I would have saw that the reading would have said, this mantra is not going to work for you. It's going to attract you to the same sex, men. Is that what you want, Kasank? I mean, no. Okay. And I remember this happened like maybe like 15 years ago, you know? So you have to be very, very careful, man, about how you use these things and go to the readings and get the readings done. Or else you're going to be attracting all kinds of things. You know what I mean? I mean, I didn't freak out too much. I would just say, damn, I'm so good. I'm attracting men. Wow. Okay. Hey, whatever, you know, because I'm at peace with it. You know, you be at peace with all kinds of things. I don't freak out. Other men who feel like a threat to their sexuality, they get all upset. But I'm just like, hey, I actually laughed. I don't know if maybe I should have took it more serious, but I kind of laughed at it. You know, I thought it was funny, but I knew I had to get a new mantra. But just be careful, okay? Do your readings, get the oracles. I would prescribe working with either. This is a wonderful book. I think it's out of print too. The I-ching. This is by a great Chinese sage. Great Chinese sage. This contains serious wisdom. And I'm going to do a video on this on Patreon. So sign up for Patreon if you're not. But if you are a Patreon supporter, I'm going to do a number of videos on this I-ching book because this contains the secret to the secret knowledge our ancestors left behind. I mean, it took me at least a year just to comprehend what this man was saying in this book. And I still, to this very day, have a hard time doing, like he gives you calculations and things like that. It's still so deep. But this is the actual wisdom. My favorite hexagram, the 42nd hexagram. It means wealth. Okay. Anyway, so start working with the oracles. They will enhance and improve your life. This is why Haru went to Tahuti and he was able to defeat Set. You want to overcome obstacles in your life? Go to the oracles. The other way is work with a spiritual entity or an ancestors. They will come to you. They will whisper in your ear. They will talk to you at 3, 4 in the morning. Pay attention. Listen to them. Work with them. First thing you do, listen to me, Magi's. Listen to me. You suddenly awake 3 in the morning. You don't know why you're awake. And you hear a voice. If that happens, say out loud, I recognize you, and greet you. Please speak with me. And then wait. You may not hear a response right then and there. You may not hear a response 2 days from there, but you will get a response. What is that saying? If you take 1 step to Allah, Allah takes 2 steps to you. Same with the spirits. When they come to communicate with you, tell them that you are aware and you recognize their presence and you will listen. Now, when they give you information, it will be clear. You will hear it in your mind. You must act upon it because if you do not, then they're not going to work with you because you're not obedient. Okay? Harmony. Namaste. Good to see you. The best. You're absolutely right. I love what you just said. And beyond feeling is a strange feeling of knowing. Once you get to that level, it's on. I love that. That is absolutely true. You'll know it. You'll feel it. And you'll get so much knowledge and intuition that you can write books about it. You know what I mean? As I tell you guys, um, I can't tell you the real deal of what's going on. And I'm serious about that. I can't give you that kind of knowledge because number one, you may take it and use it and abuse it. And number two, YouTube would shut me down. And number three, the cabal would come and get me and I'd disappear. I'm not kidding. I would disappear. So I'm not going there. I'm not going there. I'm not going to reveal those secrets publicly like this. No magician does that. They give you stuff that you can digest. But the real deal, look at the film The Matrix. None of those people understood they were in the Matrix. They never knew what was going on. Many of them, if they found out, they couldn't accept it. It would shatter their belief system. Just like the time I told you guys, I once got out of the Matrix because I did such a deep meditation. I was using a mixture of herbs and this and that. And I inadvertently, not intentionally, I didn't try to do this. I released myself. I got pulled out of the Matrix and I saw what was there. Only for a split second. It wasn't long. And it wasn't bad, but it scared me. It frightened me so. Because what had happened was I had no foundation to stand upon. Because when I was pulled out of the Matrix, there was nothing as a source for me to experience. And it's terrified me. Let me explain. The Buddhists, they go their whole lives trying to separate themselves, the attachment to material things. The reason they do that is not that they don't want, they're trying not to value material things. That's not it. They're preparing themselves for death for when they come out of the Matrix. Because when you come out from the Matrix, there is no third dimension. There is no physicality. And you've gone your whole life in physicality. Imagine physicality being ripped from you. That's like the carpet being pulled out from under you and you're being tossed. And then you realize that you have no physical body, that you're just consciousness. And there's nothing there to hold on to. Your avatars are gone, meaning friends, family. It is just you. They are gone. There is nothing, no bed, no TV, no beautiful wives to touch and hold. Do you know what that feeling is like? It's terrifying. You can't imagine that. And for that moment that I glimpsed being out of the Matrix, it was unsettling. I'm sorry to go off into that, but I just wanted to give you my insight as to what happened. So you hear these people talking about, well, I can get you out of the Matrix. They're idiots. You shouldn't be following these individuals. Because to get out of the Matrix, you must spiritually prepare yourself for that. Do you understand this? This is the reason why you incarnate. Your soul is recycled. Because you're not ready. You're not ready. You would have to meditate. You would have to raise your consciousness to such a level where you are totally separated and divorced from the physical realm, to where even though you're on this earth, and this comes from the Bible, being in the world but not of the world. That is so right. that is so on point, being in the world but not of the world. You must be here as a physical being, but your consciousness should be in 5D. And if your consciousness has been raised to such a level of where you're a sage, or where you're a Shechem, where you're in 5D, when you die and are pulled out of the matrix, it is no shock. You'll be like, oh, okay, I'm used to this. I've been here before. I've been here all the time. This is not a shock. And when that happens and you go before Ma'at, Tehuti, and Oser, and there is the weighing of the heart against the feather, and your heart weighs lighter than the feather, they were like, Netanach, you powerful one. What is your will? And then you can say, I will to stay here in the ether as a spirit and be worshipped. Or you can say, my will is to return to earth, but I will be a sage and guide the masses to spiritual evolution. Do you see how it works? But the ruling elite, the Cabal, the Illuminati, want you to worship material items. They want you to pursue, to have a life in pursuit of money, wealth, material things, because it keeps your soul recycling. It keeps your soul recycling, and it keeps their plan in place. See, let me let you in another secret. The so-called Cabal, the Illuminati, made an agreement with Neter. And the agreement was that they would rule this dimension, this realm. And that you have free will. And that free will says you can either pursue spiritual excellence or be a servant of them. And all of what you're going through now is merely preparation and a test. It's just preparing you. It's preparing you to either be an elevated being or be Sahu. And Neter, Source, God, Yahweh, cannot interfere and will not interfere in your choice. It is your choice. If you choose to pursue the material in this lifetime, that is up to you. What's going to happen? Your soul will be recycled again and come back and do it 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 again. But if you choose to elevate yourself to 5D, then the universe opens up to you. You can stay in the ether and guide and be a spiritual guide to those on earth. You can go to another galaxy and work with extraterrestrial beings there in spirit form. You can go to a higher dimension if you so choose, because you've prepared yourself for that. You're ready for it. But most of us aren't prepared because we're too attached to things in our lives. And it's hard for us to separate ourselves from those things. Very hard for us to separate ourselves. If you lost your mate, your child, you'll be devastated. But you have to learn to be at peace, no matter what happens, to be at peace. This is Kasank Ma'at Keperu, son of Ma'at and Tehuti. My aunt is the beautiful goddess, Hederu Hathor. Till my next video, Amen Ra.